the real deal.
What's up, guys? Welcome to The Real Deal Airsoft. My name is Jake, one of your favorite YouTube airsoft technicians. And boy, do I got a spicy brushless DMR build for you guys in this video. Before we hop into the build overview slash review, little disclaimer for YouTube. Everything featured in this video is airsoft and gel blaster alike. There are no firearms or firearm parts. Everything featured here is for airsoft and gel blaster alike. We do not promote the sale trade of regulated goods. With that being said, let's hop right back into the video. Brushless DMR. All right, boys, so what do we have here? We have a VFC HK M110 A1 AEG, and this is the new joint, all right? This is the new version. The old version, which has a piece of poop gearbox, it's a disaster, and the whole route of upgrading is completely different than what I would recommend for this bad boy. So for those of you that have the Dinosaur M110, shout out to my boy Peck. That's way harder to work on. Shout out to VFC for re-engineering this one. And what's the main difference between this boy and the Dinosaur?
Who you calling a dinosaur, man? Bring that camera back, bruh. Why you talking shit? I'm not collecting dust.
The Dinosaur uses some booty gearbox. The new joint uses a version 2 Avalon gearbox. So what does that mean? Real deal upgrades. Being that it has a version 2 gearbox, we have a plethora of potential, an infinite possibility of cheek clapping potential. So my client, his main goal was to use this as an outdoor build with a target FPS output measured with 0.2 BBs around 470 feet per second or 2 joules, give or take, right? I just did that off the top of my head. We'll see the real chrono at the end of the video. The build parts was a dream to put together. Let's get some questions out the way that the majority of users that's looking at this HK M110 A1 replica are wondering. So number one, the hop chamber. Is it version 2 compatible? What's going on? Is it some proprietary thing? The answer is it's fully version 2 compatible. Inside this bad boy, we have a Max M4A hop chamber, as well as we're utilizing the stock VFC nozzle. That length nozzle works perfectly with the Max hop chamber. If you want to upgrade, you could feel free to upgrade to our Real Deal 21.1 palm nozzle. But if you have this replica, I'm not going to try and tell you to get something that you don't necessarily need. The stock nozzle will work just fine. What I do recommend to do is get rid of the OEM spring and stack on inner barrel stabilizer O-rings. If you have trouble finding them, we carry them on the website. Link pin in the description below. The whole goal with those inner barrel stabilizer O-rings is you put on as many as you can until you can't close the upper, then you remove one at a time until you can. Speaking about closing the upper, the Dinosaur version with the booty gearbox has an infamous problem of garbage fitment. It is so difficult to close the upper and the lower.
I see you talking shit again, boy.
They absolutely fixed that fitment issue in the newer version, so shout out to VFC for making a much better product. Being that you have a VFC Avalon gearbox, it's really robust. You could utilize it, or you could switch out to retro. In this case, we kept the OEM gearbox. I just recommend to radius the corners of the cylinder on the stock gearbox, and once you do that, you'll increase the longevity and the lifespan of the gearbox shell itself. But VFC has proven itself really high quality gearbox. Moving inside the gearbox, we threw in some really beautiful internals, and the vision of this build is a high FPS DMR. In order to give them that real steel trigger feel, we went with the Perrin Hybrid rear-wired MOSFET combined with the Perrin clicker. This gives us a beautiful 2-stage break where you have a little bit of take up before the wall and a crispy break. Program the Perrin Hybrid MOSFET to level 5 trigger sensitivity, and you have yourself a beautiful, beautiful setup. Gear ratio. Being that this is a high FPS build, 470 FPS measured with a 0.2, there's no need to reduce the ratio of the gears, especially since we're using a brushless motor. The brushless motor spins so fast, the FPS is so high, that it just makes sense to keep a higher gear ratio to achieve a stress-free build. This build is so butter smooth, you would think it's 300 FPS, but it's clocking at a 470. It's ridiculous. We went with SHS 18:1 gear ratio, and that Paired with a brushless T238 33K motor, oh my gosh, is it butter. It is so efficient, it is so smooth. Version 2 SHS tappet plate, which I modified just a little bit, where the cam and the delayer chip engages. This way it has a very smooth cycle and the tappet plate doesn't get overextended. Just being that this build is very high FPS and really fast cycle rate, I want to ensure we don't have any tappet plate failures. Not that we have in the past, it's just a good thing to do. Speaking of delayer chip, I always pair our Real Delay Airsoft high-speed delayer chip with a brushless motor. Brushless motors and the advance in the technology and the performance of them is what motivated me to design this part. So you'll see on the website, we recently added the brushless SSG bundle kit to help you guys save money and know which parts work together. And included in that bundle kit with the brushless is our Real Delay Airsoft high-speed delayer chip. This extends the feeding window. This way you don't have any issues. And especially if you're planning on using heavier ammo and a faster cycling motor, you have to use our Real Delay Airsoft high-speed delayer chip. What I did to install it is you could press it into place and it's not a problem. But me personally, I go the extra step. I take a little blade and I score the surface of the sector gear. I put a little drop of crazy glue, pinch it all together, and within 10 seconds it bonds, it's good to go. So we used a high-speed delayer chip, 18:1 ratio gears, Perrin hybrid MOVSET, Perrin clicker, T238 30K motor. We're using Real Deal CNC 8mm low profile bushings. These low profile bushings allow you to get really precise shimming. It's not too girthy.
Nice.
It gives you the perfect amount of clearance within the gear set and the gearbox to allow precise shimming. I need precise shimming every single time. It doesn't matter if it's a brushless build or if it's a Real Deal motor build, your beveled pinion is crucial. The piston of choice is the Real Deal Airsoft Performance Piston Assembly bonded. It's strong enough to handle this for sure, combined with a Real Deal Airsoft CNC cylinder head. We did not use the OEM VFC cylinder head because they are notorious for cracking eventually. I have one in my tester and it cracked. It cracks at the seam. That's just what happens. High FPS, we need high reliability. Shout out to Nick, he provided a steel Type 4 inner barrel, a very long inner barrel, which justifies a 100% Real Deal Airsoft polished steel cylinder. So that's what we're sporting. You need to match your cylinder to the barrel length, and that achieves the optimal efficiency, and you'll have the best outputs with that. We're using an M120 spring in this build, and we're getting 470 FPS with a 0.2 gram BB. All right, boys, that's nuts. Super Macaron bucking, because we're going to be using heavy BBs. That all in all ties this build together, and it came out absolutely flawless. After the upgrade, everything works as normal. The mock bolt catch works. The ambidextrous selector switch is nice and crispy. .2 gram BBs. I do want to mention that it's short stroke by 1 tooth.
Alright boys, so I lost all the audio to this video, so this is a voiceover, but nonetheless, I got you. Pretty much what I'm saying here is we have 0.3 BBs, tracers, loaded in the mag, and I'm also pointing to the hot because I said I may have to adjust it when shooting because I didn't have it tuned for 0.3s originally. We're going to be shooting at these trees, which are around 150 feet, and then after we're going to be shooting at the stop sign, which is much further. It doesn't look like it on camera, but it's actually up a little hill and to the right. And I was actually really surprised when I was shooting this because without optics or a sight, I'm hitting it every single time. The tracer unit featured in this video is the new Flare M Bluetooth trace unit by eShooter. As you can see, there's a C and an M button. That's for the color and the mode. You could change that remotely, or you could use their Bluetooth app, which is absolutely amazing. If you stay to the end of the video, you're going to see me using the app, navigating it, and selecting a plethora of colors and options. It's really dope, so make sure you stay to the end of the video to see that. Right now, our target is over 250 feet away, It's this little stop sign, and the camera zoomed into the max, and it's still a small target. Got the max hop chamber in there, V2 compatible. Let's send some shots. The reason why I really am upset that the audio is missing is because every time the BB hits the stop sign, you can hear it. Tink, tink, tink. And another thing, I'm clapping cheeks without optics or a sight. I'm really just looking over the monolithic rail. So, really accurate. This build came out super dope. Again, this is 470 FPS, and it shoots like butter. Fire open the eShooter app, click the device that you're using, the trace unit, and in here you can actually program your BB weight, and this will provide chronograph data. But this right here is my favorite feature, and that is the color wheel. You have the ability to choose whatever color you want, much more than just red, green, or blue. And you're going to see me tinkering around with it a bit, just checking out the different colors and modes that we have here. Right above the color wheel, where it says mode selection, you can choose which shooting mode you want. Flame with tracer, just flame, tracer, and there's something also called drag mode. Drag mode is when not every BB traces. You can program how many shots in between a tracer flash you want. This is for the purpose of not giving your position away in the field. And right above the color wheel, we have these options: single color, rainbow, and dynamic rainbow.
That wraps up this build, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you press the thumbs up button and drop a comment down below letting me know the next build you want me to do an overview on, and let YouTube know that they need the world to discover the real deal. Till next time, see you on the field.
The real deal.